The whole field of child abuse is finally getting the attention that it needs in terms of the kind of trauma, the kind of difficulties that kids experience, in terms of even their brains changing and the chemistry of their brains changing when they're exposed to something that hurts them. And so when we originally started, we were really focusing a lot on child sexual abuse, but we've really seen how any kind of trauma, whether it's physical abuse or if it is a car accident or a child sees something really traumatic in front of them happening, it impacts upon their ability to grow up to be healthy, and functioning and mentally stable. So, Eileen, tell me a little bit about why you joined the board and what was happening at that time.
Well, I remember I was approached by the Commissioner of Social Services. At the time it was Steve Rose, and he asked me if I would be on the board. He explained the mission was to protect and support children, so I was in. I was at the time the director of the Child Care Council. I also said yes because many of the people who were on the board had supported me and mentored me in my career, so I wanted to give back. And I went there knowing that I would help with board policies, staff descriptions, that sort of nuts and bolts. But I didn't really completely understand the CAC, other than that it was for protecting and supporting children. And to be honest, it took a long time to really understand the CAC, in part because at that point they didn't have a home, and so I was learning about people who were working very hard, the folks who were on the multi-disciplinary team. They were working very hard to help and to protect children, but I couldn't see them or interact with them in an office space. We would have meetings at OCO's offices, we would have meetings in the district attorney's office, we would have meetings at Catholic Charities, wherever there was space that month, because there was no real home base for the CAC.
They would go through a series of hallways very similar to this one. And you can imagine that if you are a child who has something scary to talk about, this might not be the most comforting place to be. However, it is a very serious location, and that is something that we want to make sure we do maintain. But it's a stark place for children. The kids would come in here, and they would meet with investigators, and their families would be with them as well. This space used to have more of a waiting area feel, but now that we don't use it that much, what we have left is a sign from the Oswego County Child Abuse Task Force. And so the children would come in, and they would go into this space right here to be able to tell their stories.
The CAC found a home. I remember going to the open house and walking through the facility and seeing where children could be interviewed in a comfortable place and seeing where they could get counseling services. And that's when it really came home to me what was happening here and how much more there was happening than I could have imagined.
To see the statistics where we served 130 children in 2007 to our highest year was 2012, which was 475, and we're still very close to that, 450, between 450 and 460. It shows you where it goes from coordinating to actually providing services.
Right.
And I don't think a lot of the community knows that obviously we respond to child abuse, but we also respond to child fatalities. And there are so many child fatalities that happen still because of crimes that are committed to children. Those are preventable things. as we look forward to the next 5-10 years of where the CAC needs to be, we need a bigger home. Our real goal is to house the multidisciplinary team at the CAC, so that those investigators, district attorneys who are really specializing in the work of responding to or hoping to prevent child abuse in any form, they can come here.
Right.
And they can have a comfortable place. And I think that our team, it's nice to know that as a Child Advocacy Center, being here now for 15 years, we are primed and ready and trained to respond to the next generation of whatever kind of abuses.